Welcome back into the extended reading for April the 12th through the 18th. And so now we get to the really fun part. So, this is where I really start pulling out the layers of the message that's coming through. And so, we're going to use a lot of different decks and we're going to just keep going deeper and deeper, pulling that onion back until we see exactly, what's going on here, what we need to do with it, where it's going. This is the fun part. All right, so we're going to start with Heart's Hidden Secrets. I love this deck. So if you want the truth of a situation, this deck is going to give it to you. It goes right to the core of what people are feeling, and the feelings don't lie. So we've already looked at, the base spread. We've got this big decision, and like there's nothing that can hold us back now. We know we've got the clarity, we've got the drive, we've got the ambition, we know where we're going, and we know what we get at the end of it. The only thing is we've got, people that are wanting to kind of they want to they like the way that it was. It worked for them. And so it's like this new move may not work for them anymore. And so that's the only thing that we've got is not everybody's going to be happy for us, but that's not why we're doing it. So, all right, Heart's Hidden Secrets. What is this decision really about? So, what is being triggered emotionally? We have mistakes, misunderstood, victim, lost soul. And so, what I'm feeling from this is that one, we are actually moving out of victim mentality in order to make this decision. We are realizing that we actually made mistakes. Our judgment was not always correct because that's how we get ourselves into situations that may not be in full alignment. It felt good in the moment, but we didn't think our way all the way through it. And that's okay. I mean, the thing about it is everybody makes mistakes. And so the goal is to learn from it, to grow from it. And, growth comes with challenge, and we've got our challenge right there. Growth comes sometimes with consequences. The mistakes do have consequences, but it's going to continue to get worse until you get back into, actual alignment. And so, just with the phrase, it's like, um, you can walk down, the wrong path. It's just the further down you go. There's a phrase that's coming, and it's not hidden clear, but it's just you walk down this path. You know, you keep going, say for 100 days. The only thing worse is to go for 101 in that wrong direction. And so let's turn it back. We've already made the mistake. The only thing we can do now is correct it. What truth has already been realized? We have intimacy, bonding, sensual, confiding. And so this is where the misalignment is felt the most in the bond, in the connection that you have in your relationships. You know that you need something, specific, and you need, depth. You need, just true intimacy and connection. And maybe you don't have that in your current situation. And maybe like the hardest decisions to make sometimes in these kind of settings is when it's not actually bad, it's just not exactly what you need. And so it's like, it's not necessarily that you did something wrong. You just know this is not enough. This is not going to fulfill you. This isn't what you were looking for. This isn't like the thing that you need. Um, So, what fear or attachment is still active? We have broken, shattered, heartbroken, destroyed. And I think that's the piece that holds you back from making the decision, is because this is something that is painful for you. It is going to hurt. It will cause heartbreak for yourself and for others. To when you end connections, even for the right reasons, there's always pain that comes with it, and so it's like Maybe that's the thing that you've been trying to prevent the collapse of, is to not having to feel the heartbreak, not having to feel the pain, and definitely not having to bring pain to anyone else. I mean, that's a thing, that would definitely keep you from, making an aligned decision, is, the fear of, like, you know, how bad is this going to hurt? Because that's the reality. It is going to hurt. Um, but that doesn't mean that it's the wrong decision. All right, next we're going to use the Time Traveler's Oracle. And so what happens if you move forward? What happens now if you move forward? And so the immediate outcome of the situation, we have stillness, Zen monastery, Japan. So it may not feel like a lot all at once. It may feel very, very quiet for, a period. But that quiet is about, it's a realignment in itself, and it's getting you back to like a homeostasis, so that you can make your next moves not out of a place of fear, not out of place of reaction, not out of place of anger or regret or anything. It's no, I know this is my right next move. And so it gets you back to where you can hear yourself again. It gets you calm enough to know, like, that yes, this choice was right, because your nervous system is going to be the thing that's telling you this. The longer term timeline energy, we have healing, the dream temples of Asclepius, Greece. And so, longer term, this brings, long term healing for you and the other. Because if it was out of alignment for you, it was likely out of alignment for them as well. And so this is the way that you bring real healing in, not by continuing to go down the path that is the incorrect path, but by getting yourself back where you're meant to be, where your nervous system feels settled, where, your spirit just feels free and just, completely in resonance. Okay, so what is the hidden influence? We have trust, Polynesian voyagers, the Pacific Ocean. And so how much do you trust yourself? How much do you trust that you know what you know, and that you can hold your own? Because especially if the connection that you're breaking from is, like, say it's a spouse or an intimate partner that helped you in some way, because the King of Pentacles is involved, that helps some level of stability for you. Do you trust that you can do this on your own? Or is that one of the things that's holding you back as well? Do you feel like that you need someone else in order to be doing this? Or are you capable? Because you are capable. And, like, the reason why you're making this decision is because it, in some way, it is messing with your security and your safety and your stability. And so, do you trust that you can bring that for yourself? Are you over depending on, other relationships and connections to do that for you? Okay, so we're going to use the wisdom of the oracle next. And the question is, what happens if you stay where you are? And the immediate experience is a fork in the road. And so you can't stay where you are. You literally cannot stay where you are. You have to choose something. And so either what you are in now has to evolve with you, or you have to go a different direction. That is the only options you have anymore. It's staying the same is not it, because we've got this 13 here, and the 13 also represents the death energy, which is about transformation. And so it's just it has to change. There's no staying where you are anymore. And I think that's why your soul feels like that pull, because you know that. You know that. It's like this is the time. I know the clarity is here. The drive and desire, all of that, you have all the elements that you need in order for you to make the decision now, because you know that you can't stay where you're at. The emotional and energetic cost, we have between worlds. And so it's keeping you stuck in limbo. Not making the decision is keeping you stuck in limbo. You are trying to move forward into this, new era, this, happier, brighter, more aligned ways, but you're keeping yourself connected to the old, and you've got a foot in the one and a foot in the other. You haven't moved fully into either one. And so it's just this limbo energy until you finally complete that step. Okay, I'm taking the action. The long-term direction, we have here and now. And so the guides are saying, don't think that far ahead. Be okay with where you are right now. You don't have to have it all planned out, contrary to popular belief and even Jen's belief. And so just be happy with where you are right now. That's what, it's trying to get you comfortable, because we have that stillness energy as well. It's trying to get you comfortable to be back in your body, making the decisions, based off of how things feel to your nervous system. I mean, that's part of why that system is there for you. It's like it's helping you know where you are in vibrational alignment. And so don't think too far ahead right now. Just get to the next step and just trust that when you get there, you'll know what to do next, because you'll finally be able to be calm enough to hear yourself. There is no defined path here. You get to choose it. But the goal is to choose it from a place of homeostasis and not out of reaction, not out of fear. So you got to get to that place before you can even think about, where do I go after that? Okay. Next, we're going to continue to use the wisdom of the oracle and what builds stability. This section is about what builds stability for us. So what aligns with the King of Pentacles energy? We have not for you. You know what is not safe. You know what is not healthy. You know what is not aligned. You know what is not compatible. You know enough now. So the only thing left is to act on what you know. What needs to be grounded or released? Soulmates. Wow. Okay. So it's the value that you have placed on that relationship. Yes, they are likely your soulmate in some way, because we have all kinds of different soulmates. We have, some that come in, for the whole life long, and some that are just there, for seasons to get us to different points. These soulmates are just as meaningful, just as valuable to you as, any. But at this point, they've served their purpose. And so if you were hanging on to them, and this is coming back to that Hierophant energy that I felt, earlier, is that if you're hanging on to them just because, past commitments you've made, past versions of yourself that made those decisions, then that's going to keep you out of, your highest alignment and possibly your greatest stability. So you can honor these relationships for what they have brought to you. You don't have, it just is going to change form. Your love for them does not go away. Their love for you doesn't go away. But the relationship itself is changing form. You can always care about someone and know that they are not healthy in your life at this time. And that doesn't mean that later, there might not be a way of, realignment, but this is the alignment where things are at right now. And that's the only thing we can look at, is what the alignment is right now. So what creates true security? Serendipity. Don't force it. Let yourself be guided to the next step. Inspired. This is about being inspired and not trying to make something, because that force energy, it's a real metaphysical experience. And so if you're putting force on something, what's going to happen? It's going to push it further away from you. And so this is like, we're letting go of the need for things to happen and just letting it. And you just let it, because you first have to get to the place that you believe that it's even possible that it will happen, that if you just release your control, that it will just naturally align itself as you continue to make aligned choices, and not thinking about how it's going to impact all of this. Nope, this is the choices in alignment. That's why I'm choosing it. And then just seeing what happens from there, trusting that it's going to take you to where you need to be. Okay. So the next section is the higher guidance, and we're going to bring in my Oracle of the Council. And I always call in the Akashic Records and the Council of the Awakened Flame before every reading. And so they're always present, but this deck just gets us right direct into here's what they have to say. And so the higher guidance here, what is the soul lesson we're learning right now? We have soul retrieval, calling yourself home, 313, heart chakra, burgundy, the path of transmutation. That 313, that was a loud number last week. I've still been seeing it a lot, but it is, really, that where you're at is not your truest version of yourself. It's not your freest version of yourself. Something is missing that is deeply needed. It's like this part of you that needs to be expressed is deeply needed. And that's what's being called out right now. Like, that you can't be in your fullest expression in the space that you're in. And that's why the decisions are needing to be made. What is being asked? What is being asked of you right now? Beloved dead, you are never alone. 555, root chakra, amber, the council speaks. And not to be afraid to be alone. Don't be afraid to be alone. For a season, for a time, don't be afraid to be with yourself, because the thing is, you're never alone. And this is what this time period may be teaching you, is how connected you really are to, things so much greater than you probably ever knew. But when you are constantly living in a state of chaos and your nervous system is having to be on guard and activated and prepared for, the bottom to drop out, you're not able to hear yourself. You're only hearing the fear, and you're not able to see, the bigger, the bigger guidance and, guides that are with you as well. I'm not the only one who has a whole council behind me. We all do. We all have access to it. We're all being supported. We're all being guided, but not all of us can get quiet enough and still enough to be able to tap into that. And this is what this is going to give you the opportunity for. Okay. What is the truth that can't be ignored right now. Mary Magdalene, sacred sovereignty, sacred sexuality. Angel number 144, sacral chakra, crimson. The council speaks. And so, this is, you have to make decisions for yourself. You have to be in your own sovereignty. And the 144, so this is, that 144,000, this is the light workers, this is twin flames, this is the chosen. So this is the time, where we're being, activated to stand into our sovereignty, to really, because when we do that, it's teaching others to do that, and that's helping to raise the whole vibration overall. And there's that 13 energy again. So like that is big, transformations are happening. It's time to allow the transformation to complete. And, with the sacred sexuality, I think that that's a part of this too, is because, again, we had the intimacy card from earlier as well. It's like there's some incompatibilities in the way that you connect. It may be good, but it may not be like that, like what your soul truly needs. And so there's, you've got to take responsibility back for your choices again. Okay. With the yes and no oracle, let's get real. Okay, is this connection aligned long term? No. A whirlwind of events invites chaos. Fortunately, the illusory nature of the situation quickly dissipates. It is replaced by an invigorating sense of hope, an inspiring sense of inviolability, and the invulnerable sense of confidence. Troubles and obstacles strengthen you. Okay, so whatever you're going through, it is going to strengthen you. But no, this connection is not aligned long term. It's not even aligned where it is right now. So the blindfolds have fallen off for you. You see the truth, and once your confidence comes in and you're ready to make that decision, I mean, I think that you're going to be ready. You're going to be prepared. But I mean, because you know that it's not coming without its own consequences too. And that's been the part that you've been bracing for and fearing to this point, is like, what happens when I finally, make that decision and say those words, like what actually happens? What does that tower actually look like? And that can be very scary. Okay, is action required now? No, sweet victory. Mountains that stood in the way of your cherished goals are crumbling. Regardless, all resources must be used. The situation still requires perseverance and the unorthodox ability to stay ahead of the problems. It is the foundation for any success. Read that again. And so, okay, no, because like right now, I think you are making, you've made the decision, you're ready to take action, you're making the plans, but there's certain things that still have to be lined up. And so I'm thinking, especially because this is really coming through as like spouse kind of partnerships ending. And so, that's a process. That is a process. And so like, even for myself, like when I filed for divorce, I filed for divorce at the beginning of April, but it was still, later into May before he actually moved out. And so it's like, this isn't a quick transition. All resources must be used. I mean, so that's why I'm really feeling like that partnership level of separation happening. And then there's planning that's involved in that, especially if this is somebody you do care about. You don't just like cut yourself and leave them high and dry. So, I mean, it's like, this feels like a plan. This feels like, like we have to, work out some sort of plan to disentangle, because this isn't a clean just break. Okay. Will this situation resolve on its own? No. The hurricane of passion subsides. You see the true state of things. You open your heart to many unique opportunities. You crush the coal into sparkling diamonds. Are there better accomplishments than these? No, you see the truth now. And I mean, you see, like it's literal incompatibility at this point. And so, um, it's not like either person is doing anything wrong. It's just not working. It just doesn't work. What one person wants, the other doesn't, or vice versa, or one needs, the other can't provide. And that's, I mean, it's not something wrong with someone. It's just it's differences and capacities, and it's just learning how to live with other human beings. That's not easy. And I think that if we all gave ourselves, a little bit of grace and kind of could look at it from that bigger perspective of like, oh wow, this just really isn't working, and not like I have to make this person a villain to and find some horrible thing about them to prove that this is right, that I make this decision. You don't need to do that. You just need to know like it doesn't work. And I think that we can both, um, be better aligned in different situations, because I mean sometimes you can do more harm trying to stay in the wrong thing, and if you really care about this person, I mean that's not what you're trying to do. You're really, you're trying to love them the best that you can, and sometimes the most loving thing that you can do is release and realign. Okay, so with the timing deck, tell me when timing deck. So, when will clarity come? As soon as you take action. That's the only piece that's missing, and we've been talking about that this whole time. Um, when will movement happen? We have in time for Pisces season. And I think it's because the movement already started in Pisces season, which would have been late February, early March. That's when it, like the crack, really, that's when it was, I mean, just the no going back. It was too far gone. That's what I feel. Yeah, too far gone for that. When will the truth be revealed? In time for Lionsgate. So that's when you're going to realize that you've made the right decision. That's when because I think that at first it may not feel like you made the right decision because of this chaos and conflict right here with the Five of Wands. I think that at first you're going to question yourself. And so this may even be some internal too, because again, there's this stillness energy. So it's not like you're just instantly in your dream world. Like you are coming out of one so that the old timeline can collapse, but you're sitting in a space of again, it's like just to get you back into the homeostasis so that this is the liminal space before you fully move into that new timeline and that new vibration. So like, okay, and I mean that's another piece that's kind of coming through to me right now is like the vibrational shift. That's why it's not just one right into the next because it's too far. The jump is too far. And so you've got to like get back down to your base so that you can realign to this higher energy. Okay. Last question here. What deck do I want to use for this? I'm going to use Time Travelers. So, what happens if you fully choose yourself right now, we have vast vistas, nomads, steppes of Mongolia. And so the world opens up. The world opens up in a big way. Now, it may feel, again, there's that stillness and quietness. It may feel too big, especially if you've come out of a really restrictive state. It may be like a little overwhelming with, like what all the opportunity is around you. But you're going to be able to breathe. There's room to move. And so it actually feels really good that it just opens things up for you. All right. Well, I am going to close it out there. I think that we have beat this thing to death. And the only thing left now is literally, taking action on the thing that you already know that you want to do. So good luck and come back next week and we will keep seeing where this story is heading. And again, if you want to work with me, there are links in the description box for you to do that. All right. I will see you next time.